Hello students, good evening. Now it's a time for continuation of the lesson, that is combustion and flame. Now when we talk about ignition temperature, it becomes very important to talk about two important concepts. One is flash point, the other one is ignition temperature. Now what are these two and how are they different from each other? Whenever there are two things, now any combustible substance, one way is the substance is so highly reactive that it can catch fire on its own. So just that if you heat that substance, it will immediately catch fire on its own. The second thing is this substance always need a source to ignite it. For example, certain things need something else to initiate the process of ignition. So when we talk about flash point, it is the lowest temperature at which a substance can vaporize to form an ignitable mixture in air. So, in case of flash point, an ignition source is needed. So, you need an external substance in order to start the process of ignition. So, let us take this example. For example, if you think of kerosene, so kerosene is a combustible substance, right? If you talk about the flash point of kerosene, it is somewhere around 38 to 72 degrees Celsius. That is the flash point of kerosene. Now, what do we mean by flash point of kerosene? If you compare the flash point of kerosene with that of wood, so if you look at the flash point of wood, it is around or it is highly quite higher when compared to kerosene. Now, since wood has a higher flash point than kerosene, therefore kerosene catches fire more easily. Now, if you have two scenarios, the first scenario, a few logs of wood. The second scenario, you have two logs of wood with kerosene spilled over it. So, which of these two will catch fire easily? The second one, because it has kerosene and kerosene has a lower flash point. So, it will very easily get ignite. And ignition sources, the ignition source means maybe you bring a matchstick near it, so that matchstick acts as the ignition source, so the kerosene will get converted into vapors, and during this vaporization we see it as fire. So that because that is an ignitable mixture which is seen in the air. So, this flash point actually indicates the combustibility of a substance. So, whichever substances hide a flash point, its compatibility is little lesser. Similarly, if you look at the flash point of diesel, it has a flash point of around 52 to 96 degrees. And now, why do you have this range? That means anywhere between these two temperatures, living in any temperature between 38 to 72 degrees Celsius. Kerosene can catch fire if there is an ignition source present. Now on its own, it will not catch fire at own. So they have this temperature, it will catch fire only if there is an ignition source present. Now the next concept is auto ignition temperature. Auto means self. So anything ignition which happens by itself, that is auto ignition. So it is the lowest temperature at which a substance ignites spontaneously. So in this case you really do not need an ignition source. You do not need external ignition source. So when you look at the auto ignition temperature of kerosene, you see that it is somewhere around 295 degrees Celsius, which is very high. So, what does this mean? That kerosene has a flash point which is in the range of at the 38 degree to 72 degrees Celsius. That means within that temperature range, it can get ignited. If there is an ignition source present only, But if there is no external ignition source, kerosene by itself will not catch fire until and unless it has reached the temperature of 295 degrees Celsius. So let us suppose there is no external ignition source, there is no matchstick, but if you start heating kerosene such that it reaches a temperature of 295 degrees Celsius, then it will automatically get ignited. So it will catch fire on its own. So that is why this temperature is called auto ignition temperature. So please understand the difference between two. Flashpoint is only when you have an external source which can make that object catch fire, and auto ignition means you do not need any source. Once the object is heated to that temperature, it can catch fire on its own. So here no external source is needed. So no ignition source is needed. So let us look at few other examples. So take example of coal. So that auto ignition temperature of coal around 500 degrees Celsius. That means if you heat coal to this temperature, coal will catch fire on its own, and that is what happens in so many coal mines. We have discussed about coal mines, like coal formation takes place deep under the ground. Now very well, you have huge coal mines. Now since the temperature deep inside the earth is very high, so sometimes what happens is the temperature increases so much that it reaches around 500 degrees Celsius, and that is when coal gets ignited spontaneously on its own, and that is how we have coal fires in the mines. You take example of wood. So in case of wood, the sort of ignition temperature around 300 degrees Celsius. So if wood is heated to 300 degrees Celsius, it starts to release hydrocarbons which react with oxygen in the air, and that's how it catch fire. So whenever we talk about auto ignition temperature, it is a temperature to which if you heat a particular combustible substance, then that substance will catch fire on its own. So that is auto ignition temperature. So auto ignition temperature also tells us, or it also indicates the combustibility of a substance. So a substance which has a higher auto ignition temperature, so that substance do not catch fire easily. For example, if you compare coal and wood, so if you heat both coal and wood, which will catch fire faster? Wood, because as soon as it reaches 300 degrees Celsius, there only it will catch fire. But for coal, it can go beyond 300 degree and it can go up to 500 degrees Celsius. So any object, so both these things, flashpoint and the ignition temperature, both of these indicate the combustibility of substance. So knowing these values, we predict which substance will catch fire more easily than others. And knowing combustibility of various substances, we can choose each of them for the various purposes. For example, as we do some common examples in the cylinders which are used in our kitchen to prepare food. So what kind of fuel will do? We will use coal, no? What do we use? The LPG? Well, because if you look at the properties of LPG, so this is another fact that LPG also has many advantages, like it does not cause pollution and it is a clean fuel and etc. But other that also, when you know the ignition temperature and the flashpoint of these fuels, you can actually decide whether this fuel will be suitable for this purpose or not, because when you are preparing food, you deal with a specific range of temperatures. So in our keeping the cylinder in your houses, so that cylinder to their own temperatures, so basically you can decide whether that particular fuel will be suitable for that purpose, knowing its auto ignition temperature and flashpoint. So now, knowing this concept of auto ignition temperature and a flashpoint, we will see that how water helps to control fires. Have you ever seen that if a building catches fire or if a shop catches fire, what happens? People call fire department, and what do? They do, or they try to put off the fire using water. Why water helps to extinguish fire? And what is that property in water with which helps to get away with fires? Water cools the combustible substance. We saw that there are three criteria of combustion. What are the three criteria? The first criteria was a fuel or a combustible substance. The second criteria was the presence of air or oxygen. The third criteria was the presence of heat so that the substance can reach its ignition temperature and can catch fire. If we want to put off the fire, so let's say something has already caught fire, but now we do not want that fire. So how do we or put off that fire? If any of these criteria can fulfill, there will be no combustion, so there will be no fire. Now what does water do? Water is quite cold, and therefore whenever you put water into a hot substance, it reduces the overall temperature of that substance. So basically, instead of providing heat, you are actually providing making the substance more cold. So you are reducing the temperature of the combustible substance. When you reduce the temperature, so what happens again? The substance temperature comes below the ignition temperature. So below the ignition temperature, a substance cannot catch fire, and that is why the fact it does not catch fire again, and that's how it stops. Because what is fire? Fire is nothing but a result of reaction of the substance with oxygen, right? So the substance is still in contact with oxygen, but it is not able to release enough energy because it has not reached its ignition temperature. So that is how the fire is put off, because the temperature falls below the ignition temperature. So using water, this criteria is not fulfilled, and that is why there is no fire, and that is how the concept of water as a fire extinguisher works. Now, water cannot be used as a fire extinguisher in all the scenarios. For example, if you take example of spaces where there are a lot of electrical equipments or electrical wires, for example, in office spaces where you have a lot of computers, lot of machinery, factories or industries where there are a lot of electrical equipments involved, water is not a good choice as fire extinguisher. Can you tell why? Because when I am talking about water, I am not talking about your distilled water. I am talking about normal water which contains dissolved mineral soils, etc. in it. So this water is not good conductor of electricity. So normal water, so when I say water is a good conductor of electricity, I mean not pure water, at the normal water which we use in our day-to-day life, that is not distilled water. So this water is a good conductor of electricity. Now, since it is a good conductor of electricity, what happens is when you put water on electrical equipments which has caught fire, so the chances of getting electric shock is very high, because water will also start conducting the electricity, which might the electric current which might be the present on those equipments or wires. Therefore, water is not all good choice to be used as fire extinguisher in office or in fire involving electrical equipments. So which is alternative choice? The alternative choice is carbon dioxide. What special is there in carbon dioxide that can control fire? Because carbon dioxide cannot act as a cooling agent, but it can act or do something else. So what carbon dioxide actually does is it acts as a blanket over the substance which has got fired. Now this one, as I again said, there are three criteria, correct? The first criteria for combustion is coal. Second, the criteria is oxygen or air, and third criteria is heat. Now water acts as a fire extinguisher because it attacks the third criteria, but carbon dioxide attacks the second criteria because carbon dioxide is a gas and oxygen is also a gas. This carbon dioxide is heavier than oxygen, so carbon dioxide is heavier when compared to oxygen. Now since it is heavier, so it settles down. So as I decide, what happen is carbon dioxide acts as a blanket surrounding this entire substance. So let's suppose this is a wire, just an example. This brown colored line which you see, that is a wire and it has caught fire. So over this wire with fire, the carbon dioxide will act as a blanket. So here you will have the carbon dioxide blanket, and where is oxygen? Oxygen is present in the surrounding. So maybe oxygen is present here. Now basically, if you see, due to the presence of this blanket of carbon dioxide, the contact between oxygen and the substance, this is the substance. So the contact between oxygen and the substance is being cut due to the presence of carbon dioxide in between. Now, since the supply of oxygen is cut, therefore there is no oxygen supplying, so there is no combustion, so there is no fire. So that is how carbon dioxide acts as a fire extinguisher. Now, how do we actually, for example, in case of water, we just bring water maybe in buckets or in pipes and we try to extinguish fire. But how do we do it with carbon dioxide? So carbon dioxide is present in liquid or in fire extinguishers. If you look at in your office spaces, or you will see the red colored fire extinguisher boxes. Inside that you have carbon dioxide in liquid form, and when it is released it neutralizes the oxygen, and that is actually causing the fire. So another advantage of using carbon dioxide as fire extinguisher is that fires do not record immediately because of lack of oxygen, because all the oxygen is being silent by carbon dioxide, so it actually neutralizes with the oxygen. So there is no rule oxygen surrounding the substances, and as a result the fire, in fact the carbon dioxide which is directly released from the extinguishers, that is also at ice cold temperatures, so it is extremely cold. So there are certain precautions which needs to be followed while applying carbon dioxide on off in office spaces which have got fires. So what we learned is we can control fires either by using water or by using carbon dioxide. But the basic concept of controlling fire is that one of the three criteria needed for combustion needs to be a bit limited. That is, one of those criteria need to be satisfied, and then combustion cannot